There are about 1 billion sheep in the world, but each one matters to a shepherd somewhere. I asked the Bedouin about losing sheep, and I hardly missed hearing a touching story that carried some remarkable sentiment. From the mountains surrounding ancient Petra, Ahmed responded with characteristic confidence. He said, "Since 1984, I have never lost a sheep or a goat that I didn't find again, either alive or found dead." But then, with some hesitation and obvious feeling, he continued, "All that is, except for one, and that one I can never forget. She is on my mind every night before I sleep. Although he has had thousands of animals, he felt shame as a shepherd that he could not account for the one that was lost." A happier story came from the Arif family in the small village near Kakarik, also in Jordan. You're tilting. Hey, DJ's got the camera. Hold it right there. You go. Right there. Thank you, buddy. He says, herding has been in their family business for generations. In more recent history, the men had taken government jobs, so Miss Arf had been the one caring for the management of their 45 flock. The family joked that she brought in more income from their animal products than they did from their office jobs. She made wool for stuffed pillows and mattresses. She made dried cheeses and several other types of items. Another family member joked that Miss Arif loved the animals as much and maybe more than her own children. She knew the animals quite well, quite intimately, and was greatly affected by their needs. One day, to her immense distress, Miss Arif lost track of one of her ewes. Because sheep regularly mingle with other flocks at common pastures during feeding, she checked with her neighbors at night to see if the ewe had gone home with someone else. But none of them had seen the missing creature. She inquired among distant neighbors over the next week, but no one had noticed a stray or found any unidentified remains. Listen, weeks turned into months without the sign of the missing ewe. Then one day, 2 months later, a large flock came through the village, led by a hired shepherd. As it was still her habit, Miss Arif asked the young man if he had come across any lost sheep. As word passed from her lips, one of the ewes in the solid pack of passing sheep lifted her head, immediately recognizing the sound of her owner's voice. Miss Arif screamed with delight and rushed toward the startled mass to embrace her lost sheep. It didn't take long before the whole village heard the commotion and shared in the reunion. Her flock was now complete again. The awesome part of that story is it reminds us of two wonderful scriptures. There's a final story I'm going to share, but I'm going to read these two scriptures first. One of them comes to us from Luke chapter 15, verse 6, and it says, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost." And then the other one is this awesome text, John chapter 10, verse 14. "I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me." Isn't that amazing? 2 months later, just at the sound of her voice, this ewe lamb poked its head up, and she was able to see it, identify it out of the crowd, and go to it. What a remarkable story. Dr. Lanik tells this final story in this particular devotional. He says, a final story from a Syrian shepherd has the same happy ending. A couple of brothers searched through the night till they discovered the trail of their two missing sheep. When they came back to their village, their father was calling for them. "Have you found them? Have you found them?" The answer we sent back to him was, "Saved. Both saved." And that was enough to fill their little house with great joy. Every member of our family asked us to tell again and again the story of how our sheep were sought, were found, and were saved. These accounts have a familiar ring to them. We all know the parable of the man with 100 sheep who went in search of one that was missing, the one that was lost, until he found it. The response was the same for everyone in the village. They celebrated over that lost sheep that was found. And so it is in God's kingdom. This is what Jesus was teaching us. He was saying that God counts all one by one. Frequently dining with tax collectors, with prostitutes, and other sinners, he was painting a picture for how God views those outside the formal membership of the community of faith. They're lost, a designation that reflects a profound perspective on their true identity. But like sheep, people wander off and lose their way. They need to be rescued and returned to the flock where they belong. Theologically speaking, this was a shocking truth, that even the despised tax collector like Zacchaeus was a true child of Abraham waiting to be found. In fact, those who are lost are the ones that Jesus misses the most, according to Luke 19, verse 9. Jesus was intent on reconnecting with those who had become isolated, searching with resolve for each one until he finds it. Sounds like our neighbor is doing some work, and that's probably a good place to end this devotional anyway. Thank you for spending a few moments with me. I just wanted to remind you, dear friends, that you are loved, you are sought after, looked after for God. If you have felt out of place, if you have felt bewildered by this virus, by everything that's going on in the nation, remember, God still sees you, God still searches for you, and God will keep looking till you hear his voice, till you come home, till all the lost are found. God bless you. Bye-bye.